Rebel Force Radio presents
Star Wars Cantina.
Where are you going, Master? For a drink.
Sorry about the mess.
You will never find a more wretched hive of scum and villainy. We must be cautious.
We're going to be talking about little Katie, the Star Wars girl. This is the girl that was bullied at school because she was carrying a Star Wars themed, I believe it was a water bottle, a Star Wars themed water bottle, and she was bullied. Her mom wrote a blog, wrote a column, and it just exploded all over throughout the Star Wars fan community. So we're going to be talking about that with none other than one of our favorites joining us now on the phone, the voice of Ahsoka Tano from the Clone Wars, David Eckstein.
Oh, thank you, guys. Thank you. I'm happy to be chatting with you again.
Well, it's always a pleasure to have you on the program. This story about Katie, the little girl who was teased for having or carrying with her a Star Wars themed water bottle. But this wasn't the first time you had heard of a young female fan being teased or being kind of shamed away from showing her Star Wars fandom. This you saw this at a convention, right?
Yeah. Unfortunately, stories like Katie's happen every day, and I saw it firsthand back. I was actually in Florida for Celebration, and two young girls that I know. One young girl who was going to kindergarten, she wanted, I actually carry a Clone Wars backpack with me when I go to conventions, and she loved my backpack, and she said, that's the backpack I want to get to go back to school. And her sister, who was older, said, no, you can't carry that backpack. That backpack is for boys. You can't carry that. And she said, you need to get a backpack that's a bit more girly. And I actually said something. I said, why? Why can't she carry that backpack? Ahsoka is on that backpack. There's nothing wrong with carrying that backpack. And on one hand, I think the older sister was probably even trying to protect her, so she didn't go to school and get bullied for carrying that backpack. But unfortunately, I hear these stories all the time. I mean, we actually launched a couple months ago. We launched message boards on our website, and we have so many amazing girls that are on our message board, and they read their stories every day, and their stories are very similar to Katie's. I mean, a lot of these girls. They hide the fact that they love Star Wars at school for fear of getting made fun of. But, what I think is amazing is that because of the girls that have come together on these message boards and at her universe, some girls for the first time now are feeling comfortable with going to school and admitting that they like Star Wars.
You say on your blog, Ashley, that the key for some of this we've got an epidemic here with bullying, and I don't know if it's just that we are evolving as a human race to where we're just going to say, this is dumb. We should not have to expect our kids to get bullied and picked on and teased when they're there to learn, going to school. Because I got teased and I got picked on when I was at school, but it seems like it's taken on a whole new level. Why do you think it's become such an issue? And what do you think some of the keys are, for some of these girls that are facing this kind of bullying? How they get? You give them some advice on your blog, some of the things they can do.
Yeah, it has become such an issue, and I feel like it's happening more and more. I think it's honestly our society nowadays. I think it's kind of become accepted to bully and to put others down, and people almost make light of it and entertainment of it, which is so sad. And I think that's why you see more of it, quite frankly. You just look on television and the movies nowadays, the amount of people that are made fun of for being different. It's all over the place, everywhere you turn, and so I think that's that's why it's happening more and more. However, I think what I say on my blog, and I truly feel this, and it is easier said than done. But I think us older people can help out. Everyone like Katie, who's kind of going through this for the first time, is confidence. Confidence is one of the most attractive qualities that you can possess, and if you're confident in who you are, and you're confident in your likes and in your dislikes, and you just stay true to who you are, and you're confident in that fact, people are attracted to confidence, and also people won't pick on someone who's confident. They would rather pick on someone who's weak.
Yeah.
And if they know, if the bully knows that they're getting to you, they're gonna keep on picking on you.
Right.
But if they know that they can't get to you, and you have thick skin, they're going to stop picking on you and go to somebody else that's weaker. For example, to bring sports into this, my husband, who is one of the shortest people in the major leagues, you would think after making it to the major leagues, the bullying would stop. Not the bullying, but the taunts and the jokes. And it doesn't. I mean, every single game he would get made fun of. Every single game, somebody would remind him how short he was and how small he was.
As if we don't know. I've been short all my life, and it's funny how people will remind you of it as if you forget. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I was 6'2". Oh, thank you for the reminder.
Yeah, actually, my husband's standing right next to me, and that's very true. Actually, one of the last games of the season, when he was on the on-deck circle, a group of fans decided to sing the song from The Wizard of Oz, the Lollipop Kid song, basically making fun of him that he was he was representing the Lollipop King from Wizard of Oz. So he gets made fun of every single game, and what he does is he laughs it off, and you know what? He agrees with them. He says, "You know what? Yeah, I am short," and he just laughs with them. Yeah. And you know what? They stopped because
it's not fun anymore. It's not fun anymore. Right.
Exactly. It's not fun anymore. So, again, I know it's easier said than done, but you just can't let it get to you, because eventually the bullies will stop and move on to someone else.
Well, we actually have a really special guest right now also on the line, Ashley. We have Carrie Goldman. Actually, Katie's mom is joining us.
Oh, wow.
And
hi, Carrie.
Hi. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah. Oh, we exchanged emails, but it's nice to talk to you.
It's nice to talk to you, too. We've all been wearing Star Wars shirts the past few days. Thank you so much for sending them to Katie.
Oh, you're welcome. I actually saw pictures last night, and I'm glad you had a shirt to wear, because you said that you didn't even own a Star Wars shirt, and that definitely had to change.
Yeah, that's pretty funny, isn't it? We've always worn my husband's Star Wars shirts, because up until now I couldn't find them in the girls section.
Oh, that's all changed. See?
That's all changed. I didn't know about her universe. I'm so glad you told me about it, so I can tell Katie's friends, her little girls.
Yeah, now that the girls have something to wear, it's also more accepted. I mean, a boy's shirt, at the end of the day, it's cut for a boy. It is designed with the boy in mind, and these shirts are designed for the girls with the girl in mind, and that does make a difference.
Oh, it totally does. Well, it's kind of funny because my husband, who, speaking of short guys and little guys, he is also a little guy. He saw the sweatshirt, and he wore one of them last night, even though they're from her universe. He's like, can I wear this?
Really?
That's awesome. I actually have to say, a couple guys this summer at the conventions bought our sweatshirt, and they are rocking them themselves. So
yeah, the sweatshirts are very, gender neutral. So Andrew felt perfectly fine wearing one, and I think he was very excited about it.
Oh, good.
It was great.
Now, Carrie, we met last night at the screening here in Chicago. Did I also see you sporting a Her Universe baseball hat?
You did. You did. It was Katie's, but then she wanted me to wear it because she had me do her hair all fancy for the event, and she wanted the hair to be shown off. So even though Katie's into so-called boy thing. She's still a girl, and that she wanted people to admire her hair.
Well, her hair was definitely cute. I love the bows.
Yeah, proud
and
of
I
them.
think you got a purple hat, right? You should have got
Yeah.
the purple one.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Tell Katie, her hair looks adorable.
Well, I was listening to what you were saying earlier, Ashley, about why, teasing is so accepted in our society. And I think you definitely hit on something with talking about how, you see it on TV or in the movies. I was particularly thinking about late-night television where, it is funny, but at the same time, they make, the Leno show or some of these shows, they make a whole opening act out of teasing. And so I think it has become accepted from the top down. And what we experienced with Katie was that this teasing, while somewhat innocent, coming from, little boys she's actually friends with, even simple teasing actually got to the point where it affected her behavior. When a child reaches a point where they don't want to do something, and in Katie's case where she didn't want to bring her favorite water bottle, then you think, well, it's not so innocent. It's actually affecting their self-esteem, and it's actually affecting their behavior. And so I think that, and there were some people who said to me, well, what's the big deal? Kids tease each other all the time. And what I was thinking is the big deal is where it goes from here. If we don't teach kids at these young ages, hey, girls can like Star Wars and boys can like princesses, then what you have is down the road, you have the kids teasing the boy who's gay, and then he ends up killing himself. So I think prevention is always the best cure for any disease, and I feel the same way with this. And that's why I think that you do need to make a big deal when it's simple teasing at a young age.
It seems like there's a bit of a shift because, like I said, I went to school. I was teased almost every day, and but it seems like there's a generation now of parents that, and like I said to Ashley earlier, I don't know if we're just evolving as a human race to where we go, this is just not cool anymore. It's just not cool. I want my kid to go to school. I want them to be there to learn, to make friends, and they don't have to get, be criticized constantly by their peers about, their likes or, their color of their hair, the fact that they wear glasses or whatever it is. It seems like parents are finally saying, rather than saying, oh, just ignore it, it'll go away, things will get better, parents are saying, no, this is crazy, because it is leading to real serious problems down the line.
I agree. I think, my children, Katie's my oldest of my children, so she's 7, and then she has a sister who's 3, and we have a new baby, Cleo, who's 20 weeks. And, I think about how I want to set an example with Katie because she's going to be the one that her sisters look up to. And so it's true. I think parents are looking at their kids and saying, we want to protect you. Yes, we want them to have a thick skin. And yes, I want Katie to be a tough kid. But at the same time, she's a child. And if I don't advocate for her, who will? And I think parents are starting to think, that old line of thinking where they say, let them be bullied, it'll make them stronger. Well, no, I don't think it makes them stronger. I think it might make them meaner. And, or they have to go through a very, very hard, long path of self-acceptance. And what I've seen, the phenomenon of the outpouring of love for Katie from the self-proclaimed geeks and nerds, I think it's a group of people who many of them had to go through that long path of self-acceptance, and they see this little girl, and they think, well, let's make it easier. Let's teach her that she doesn't have to go through the long path because she shouldn't have to be teased and tormented.
Carrie, your blog, the last I checked, you actually had to shut down the comments on it. What was it like? You shut them down at over 1,200 comments. Was the response bigger than you had anticipated, or did you think that this would get some attention?
Very pleased by the response. We shut down the comments on that page because it was overloaded, but the comments, we've opened a second page for comments, and there's several thousand when you combine them now. Wow. I've written a total of 3 posts on this. The first one was called, Anti-Bullying Starts in First Grade, and that's the one that really kicked it off. I certainly never expected it to be a viral post. When I wrote it, there was sort of a perfect storm of events that I think came together to create this environment for it. Bullying was a hot topic and still is. And I wrote it for Anti-Bullying Week at her school. I was thinking more microscopically of like her local community, thinking of maybe 400 or 500 local people would really read it. And, maybe it would cause some conversations and start dialogues. But so that you have the combination of, a timely subject with bullying, and then it just so happened that what Katie liked was Star Wars, and I did not fully appreciate the passion and the depth of the Star Wars fans. I think that it would not have gone quite as viral if what she liked was
Stargate. Stargate, or yeah.
Like if Katie had been teased because she liked yellow and other people like blue,
sure,
there would be the same. So you have the factor of the anti-bullying, which is in the news. Then you add in the factor of the Star Wars fan base, which is astonishing. And then you put in the third factor, which is Katie's a compelling little character, with her big glasses and her sweet little face. And, if I'd been writing about my husband being teased, he's a great guy, but not as many people would have rallied to his side as to a little girl. And so all that came together, and when it was a Thursday night and we were at home, and there had been 20 comments on the article, and then I just glanced on it. It was about a week after I published it, maybe 4 days later, and I looked down, and all of a sudden I saw 200 comments, and I thought, oh, that's more than I usually get. And then I looked at the number of Facebook likes, and it was, creeping up into the thousands, which was more than I usually would get. And then we found out that it was being tweeted around, and about an hour later, we got an email from Tom Kane, who, as you know, does the voice of Yoda. Yeah. And at first I thought it might be a joke. Thought someone's pretending to be Tom Kane. And then his wife sent an email saying, no, this really is Tom Kane.
Oh, the wife had to weigh in there. I like that. No, this is really him. Trust me.
Because I was like, I don't know about this. And, that's when he mentioned this premiere that went on last night and asked if Katie would like to be his guest.
Oh,
and
my gosh.
Katie, at that point, was in bed. And so throughout the night, this unfolded, and, we found out that Kat Tabor had commented on one of the commenters on the anti-bully article, and, it was getting quite a bit of publicity. And Katie was clueless to the whole thing because she was in bed asleep. And so my husband and I were talking about how do we explain this to her in the morning. I mean, she's only in first grade. She went to bed, no one knew her name, and she's waking up tomorrow and everyone knows her name. And so she came into our bed to snuggle the next morning, and we said, Katie, a lot of people are supporting you, and a lot of people think it's great that you have a Star Wars water bottle. And she said, that's nice. That's good. And I was like, no, you don't understand. And then I started telling her, I'm like, Yoda sent you an email. And she was awesome. She just gave me this look, and she has these eyes that are a little magnified anyway because of her glasses, and they got even bigger. And I said, Queen Padme Amidala, she sent you an email too, and she was looking at me, and she said to me, it's not April Fool's Day. And I said, no, it's not,
Right.
And then I showed them to her, and she read them, and I think she was starting to appreciate how many people are out there that really, A, love Star Wars, and B, think that girls can like Star Wars. So it was pretty cool.
Well, Ashley, we wanted to have Katie on, but it's past her bedtime, first grade. But I'm sure Carrie will be playing this back. Is there anything that you'd like to that you might want to say to Katie and other girls out there that are experiencing this kind of bullying from Ahsoka Tano and a self-professed geek yourself?
Yeah, well, you know what? First of all, Carrie, I want to say to you, you have been so inspiring in how you've handled this situation. You just really handled that. I feel that everything you've said is right on, and you're just right on in the fact that it starts now, it starts early, and how you've just kind of empowered Katie to learn from this and be herself and still carry her water bottle. It really is inspiring. So I think it's amazing how you've handled it. And I don't have kids yet, but one day, I hope to handle it with as much grace as you did. But for all the young girls, Actually, I think they can look at Ahsoka and also kind of look at kind of the Jedi way. I remember having a conversation with Henry Gilroy when I was going to go and speak to some kids at the Boys and Girls Club, and we talked about Jedi, and the biggest thing is just that they just be themselves, that they look at themselves and realize what every person has strengths and every person has weaknesses, but what is your strength and what makes you different and unique, and what talents and skills do you have that you can use for good? And for Ahsoka, I mean, she is a teeny tiny little thing. You wouldn't think that she could go toe to toe with General Grievous, and I know many people have opinions about that, about who would win in that fight. But you wouldn't look at Ahsoka and think that she could be a fierce warrior. But she uses her strengths. She's very agile. She's very cat-like. She's very smart. I would say, she's one of the smartest out there on that battlefield, obviously along with her masters. And use what everybody was given different talents, and use your talents. We were all made to be unique and to be different, and embrace your differences. And I feel that Ahsoka does that. And I think what's so nice is that she's young. She's a young girl, even though she's in a galaxy far, far away, and she may be experiencing different things than girls today experience. But the emotions are the same. She's really going through the same emotions and the same things, and I think that young people can relate to her. So, that's really what I would say. I only have one other point kind of going back to that Carrie, you made me think about, and one reason that I think, bullying too is a bit more prevalent today is also what's different from, I feel, when we grew up. Our life was not on the internet. Our life was not made public. The kids today, Facebook and Twitter, everything, practically their whole life is public. When we have a crisis at school, when we were kids, after we left school, nobody necessarily knew what we were doing, in the nighttime hours. Whereas now, their entire life plays out on Facebook, and next thing you know, the entire school knows what happened to you. And I think it's made it easier to bully because everybody is in the know. And I think that's one thing that young kids are so smart nowadays. They know how to handle this technology, but socially they're not there. They're still socially at their age. And so they have this amazing technology, but they don't necessarily know how to handle it or how to use it. And all of a sudden, their private life is not so private. It's very public, and it just opens up to a whole another level of bullying. Like the gal today on the Today Show, where she had a fake Facebook page made about her. And next thing you know, everybody was reading it. And everybody was reading this fake Facebook page that was awful and making fun of her. And we didn't have that growing up. And I think that's another difference that us as adults need to be aware of. And that's why I think it's gotten worse.
Oh.
I think you are spot on there. And I think that social media they're fabulous. I mean, in Katie's case, Katie is sort of a rare case where she was boosted by social media. But I think what's been far more public have been the cases of people who've been destroyed by the proliferation of social media. And I think as a parent, what you have to do is be very, very vigilant. You have to be very protective. We've discussed that, our children, Katie, she's not getting a Facebook page until she's at least, I'd like to think she's at least 14 and, or 15 in high school. And even then, I'm going to insist that I'm a friend of hers so I can monitor it. And I think parents need to be able to do that. I understand respecting your child's privacy, but at the same time, there's a certain amount of, vigilance that parents need to have to protect their kids.
Believe it or not, my mom is my friend on Facebook. For the exact reason. I'm almost 42 years old.
Mama, Mac is on Facebook. I can't believe it. I was reading up on all of this afternoon, and I sat there and I just got this sick feeling in my stomach because I look at this little in my mind, she's perfect. Of course, she's not. She can be the devil sometimes. But this little perfect thing that is so secure and so happy at home. And I think about her going out into the big bad world and going into school and all this stuff that awaits her. But at the same, while this whole story terrified me, like Ashley said, it also inspired me a great deal because I think, Carrie, you've done a marvelous job and done it in such a classy way. You've brought it to the attention of people that would be interested in knowing more about this, and you've kept Katie as private and as much of kept her as a little kid as much as you can, and I really appreciate that. But I do want to Ashley, I know that you've got something going on here. You've got some family things going on, so I want to be able to let you go.
Carrie, again, thank you for how you've inspired you and Katie and your whole family, how you've inspired all of us in the Star Wars universe.
Well, thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure to get a chance to speak with you like this. I'm really just thrilled.
Yeah.
So that is great, and I will tell Katie, and she'll be very excited also, and she really does love her universe shirt. So thank you so much.
Good. And Timmy, Mac, and Jason, thank you for having me on. It was a pleasure, as always. You guys are always fantastic.
Welcome. Thank you so much, and best to David.
Thank you. May the force be with you guys.
You too.
Yes, you too.
All right.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Okay.
Ashley Eckstein, Ahsoka Tano. Now, Carrie, we would be remiss if we didn't actually tell people where to find your blog. You are
yes,
a blogger for ChicagoNow.com.
Yes, and you go to ChicagoNow.com, and then you just type in Portrait of an Adoption in the search, or you can just do ChicagoNow.com /portrait_of_an_adoption. And I'm also on Facebook. If you look up Portrait of an Adoption on Facebook, if you select like on that, then in your news feed, you can receive our articles. I do have a co-blogger also who has also been in national news. She recently adopted a baby from Nepal, and she was trapped in Nepal for 11 weeks due to a change in U.S. policy, and she's now advocating for 79 other children who are still trapped in Nepal, even though they've been adopted by U.S. parents. And so the two of us post all of our articles to Portrait of an Adoption, either on Chicago Now or on Facebook, and we'd love to have the readers.
That's fabulous. And as you said, Chicago Now, you are a local Chicago resident, as am I. And I met your family last night at the screening, and you have a wonderful family, great Star Wars fans, great White Sox fans.
Yes, we're White Sox fans.
You very much appeal to me and my sensibilities. And there are photos, my photo gallery, and everyone can see there's some pictures of yourself, some photos of Katie posing with the 501st.
Yes, and my favorite thing, I don't think anyone has a photo of it, but at the end of the night as we were leaving, there was someone from the 501st dressed as Darth Maul, and it's a pretty scary looking guy, and Katie ran over and gave him a big bear hug as we were leaving. It's so funny to see Darth Maul hugging this little girl.
That's great. And she is a little sweetheart.
Carrie, I can't tell you how inspiring it was to meet you, and please extend our love to Katie. I love the way Star Wars fans support each other. We say on this show that it's like a family, but it really is like a family. Just go to a Star Wars convention and you can feel it.
Yeah, it's been amazing. It's been fun. It's been amazing. It's been exciting, a little scary and overwhelming, but it's been a phenomenal trip. And I think that if you didn't already have a Star Wars fan for life out of Katie, you certainly do now.
That's awesome.
Well, may the force be with you guys, too, and thanks so much for having me.
Our
Thank
pleasure.
you, Carrie.
Thank you, Carrie.
Okay, take care.
Rebel Force Radio.